going to interview her quick. Okay. Evelyn, what is it like living on OsoFarm? Welcome back to OsoFarm. I'm Brandy and this is Brian. If you are new here, welcome. We are a large homeschooling family and we are about to do a Q&A.
Okay, so I'm going to ask the question,
okay,
and you're going to answer. So we'll start easy.
And you can answer some too. We can answer them together. You can read the question.
I don't know if I know the answer to all of these. Where do you live?
So we live in Central Texas in a small town right outside of Waco.
Okay. And how many kids do you have?
We have 10 kids, ages 20 to 5. Okay, our oldest, Emma, is 20. She is married and lives in Louisiana with her husband, Christopher, and our new grandson, Daniel. And Evelyn, is 18, and she just graduated from our homeschool this past year, and she is headed to college in the fall. Ezekiel is also 18, just turned 18 this summer. He is a rising senior, and we're still kind of mapping out what his plan is. We're considering the Army, or he's considering the Army, or maybe a trade school and maybe college still. So we're still, you know, kind of navigating that with him. And then Eli is also, well, he will be 18 this fall and is also talking about potentially going to a trade school after he graduates. Isaiah is a rising junior. He is 16. He will turn 17 this next month, and doesn't know exactly what he wants to do yet, but he's still young. Elizabeth is a rising sophomore. She is 15. And then Everett is 14. You're laughing. It's hard to, when they all have birthdays, it throws us off. Everett is 14. He is a rising freshman, which is so crazy to me that he's going to be in high school. And then our Esme is going to be an 8th grader this next year. She is 13. And then we have a son named Ezra that passed away in April, really unexpectedly and tragically. He was 8.5, and we can put a pop-up, is that what it's called? Put a... Right there. We'll put a link to his memorial video. Our Ezra was and is just, we call him our very best yes. That's a whole other video. We're still pretty deep. We're very deep in grief still, and the question of how many kids do you have is really hard to answer right now, because I don't know if I answer 9 because we have 9 living, or 10. So anyways, Ezra was 8.5, and our pride and joy as a family. And then our youngest, Evan, is 5, and he will be joining our homeschool more officially this fall. Evan has Down syndrome, and we are looking forward to learning with him this year, and we have some really neat manipulatives and curriculum, and I can put that video in the comments below. He did an unboxing with me a few months ago, so he will add some fun to our homeschool. So that's how many kids do we have? We have 10. We also have our oldest daughter, Elaine. She was stillborn before our Emma, and Elaine would have been 22?
She would be 22.
Yeah, she would be turning 22 this year. So our Elaine made us parents and really started us on a journey of just trusting the Lord and
Okay. Next question. Are all of your kids adopted?
we have adopted 8 of our 10 children. Our oldest 2 are biological, and then after Evelyn, we pursued adoption to grow our family.
And so what was your path to adoption?
That's probably a whole video in itself, but briefly, when our Elaine passed away when she was stillborn, I think our desire to become parents grew even more, and we had 2 really hard pregnancies after Elaine was stillborn. I had damage done to my cervix during Elaine's delivery that we didn't know about until I was pregnant with my subsequent Emma. And so Emma and Evelyn's pregnancies were very challenging, and so they were born premature, and I was hospitalized a great portion of those pregnancies and bedridden for Evelyn's entire pregnancy. So we knew we couldn't have 2 small children at home and continue to grow our family biologically. It just wasn't safe, and it would just be too hard. We wouldn't be able to parent the kids that we had. And so we made for us, it was a heartbreaking decision to not have any more biological children. And so we, just started living life, and we heard an adoption agency on the local Christian radio station when our daughters were 3 and 18 months. And in that moment, I was washing the dishes, and when I just heard about kids that were in foster care in our state, and really just the ministry of foster care, my heart was just really, drawn to that. And so that's kind of where it started. And so 6 of our 8 adoptions were, our children were adopted out of the foster care system. We also fostered other children that were reunited with family, and that was a really sweet experience for us. And then our youngest 2, our Ezra and Evan, are private adoptions that we adopted here locally in Texas, and their birth families made a really brave decision because of the boy's disability. They chose life for them, but chose not to parent, and so they chose our family to adopt them. So we have an open adoption. It was a really sweet experience to get to know them at placement, and to see and understand their love for our boys was really special.
So the next question is about being grandparents, and we are new grandparents as of...
He's 2 weeks.
2
weeks tomorrow.
2 weeks tomorrow. And so what is your grandparent name?
Well, our grandparent names are, I'm Ninny and he's Bobo. And that sounds so ridiculous, but it's not what we would have set out to choose. But our nieces and nephews have called us Ninny and Bobo since they were little, and they're now grown and having kids of their own, and they still call us Bobo and Ninny. So it doesn't
more so Bobo than Ninny. It's kind of ridiculous.
It's just an endearing name for us, and so we just decided we would just go with it. And Daniel may end up calling us something different, and that will stick. But for right now, we are Ninny and Bobo to Sweet Daniel.
Mm-hmm. So we said where we live, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And we moved from Houston. Why did we move from Houston?
Well, we always wanted to come and be closer to my family and your family.
Mm-hmm.
my sister Jennifer and her husband John live here in Waco. And when Ezra's always been medically fragile. We've always had in-home nursing care, and his care was always, a lot. But in 2019, he was diagnosed with osteoporosis. And it was a very similar diagnosis, like his case, to brittle bone disease. And even just changing his diaper or getting him into his wheelchair or even rolling over in bed could cause a really significant fracture. And so when the fractures started happening really frequently, the care in that was really, really hard. Like, we would have to keep him still and immobilized, and he didn't have the cognitive ability to understand what we were doing or why. So it was just really challenging. So after doing that for a few years, we just really felt like we needed the support of our family. And, we had no idea that Ezra was going to pass away. And so just thinking long term, Ezra was 88 pounds when he passed away. So he was growing and getting bigger. And we just really felt like we just needed the support of our family. And then also when we would spend Thanksgiving and holidays with Jen and her family, we would just be reminded how important that is. And especially as our kids became teenagers, we really wanted that discipleship of just other family members being able to speak into their lives. So in God's good and perfect timing, he moved us here just in time. We moved last summer during the pandemic. It was crazy. And so we haven't really been able to meet a lot of people and kind of establish friendships here like we thought we would a year later because of COVID. But I think now that things are getting a little bit back to normal, we're kind of feeling the joy of new friendships and getting settled here.
I agree. Back to our kids. So, do each of your kids have a specific job or chore?
Yes, they do. It's somewhat unorganized right now. I think I got the idea originally from our tribe of many years ago when she called them zones. I can link her blog below. So we kind of break our house into zones, or chores into zones, kind of. And from years ago, when our kids were really little, I used a book called Managers of Their Homes. And after I read that book, it talked about how, kids shouldn't change jobs very often because then it doesn't allow them to really excel at doing any job. So if they switch every single day, they're doing something different, then they never master that. So we kind of got into that where, if your zone is the dining room, then that's what you do long term. But I don't think I switch the zones as often as I should, because if you're stuck on emptying the dishwasher, like Sweet Everett is right now, there are days we can run our dishwasher 3 times a day.
Yeah.
And so, we're mindful of that. And, so yes, they all have specific chores. That's definitely something that I feel like needs to be tweaked a little bit. But honestly, it's kind of overwhelming when there's so many kids. And now that we are living on some land, there's a lot of extra chores.
Well, how many of our kids have disabilities? You answer that. I'm going to go let Apollo out.
Okay. Well, 3 of our kids have disabilities. Our Ezra had spina bifida, and his main diagnosis, he had a rare syndrome called 15q24 microdeletion syndrome, and that caused his cognitive delays and him being nonverbal. He had osteoporosis. He had a trach, He was paralyzed because of his spina bifida. So he had a lot of physical disabilities and then also the cognitive impairment. Our Evan has Down syndrome, and he is a typical kid that has Down syndrome, and so he doesn't have any of the physical issues that can come with Down syndrome. Like, he didn't have a heart issue or anything like that. Oh Lord, here comes Apollo charging me. Come here, boy. You want to see this big boy? Hi. It rained today, so they're still kind of wet and muddy. And then I also have a son that is on the spectrum, and he has a diagnosis called PDD-NOS, which used to be Asperger's, and then they called it PDD-NOS, and now I don't know what the diagnosis is. Most people don't know that he has it, and I'm not going to mention his name here because that's kind of his story to tell, but he definitely is thriving, and because of his PDD-NOS, had to do years of speech therapy and occupational therapy and physical therapy, and, you know, learns in a unique way, but is not going to be hindered in anything. Like, he's absolutely going to be able to go to college if he chooses to, and, you know, live a productive, typical life. I mean, it definitely is something that he deals with, and we, you know, help him as we can, but so that's it. Those are our...
Did I lose my questions?
I'm sitting on them.
Okay. Do you find it hard to shop once a month?
Yes.
Yes. I think it's hard on both of us. It's harder on her, but...
I want you to answer, why is it hard on you?
Well, it's hard on me because...
Because I'm stressed to the max when I come home?
She is stressed to the max, and doing these grocery haul videos is just... It just adds a whole nother level of stress. But when she goes grocery shopping, she's gone from 10 a.m. until
3, 4.
4, 5. So she's gone the entire day. And then when she's gone the entire day, because she's really the glue that holds the entire house together. And when that glue is not there, it really starts to fall apart. So when Brandy is gone the entire day, it can get very chaotic, because sometimes it's on a work day, or even when it's a chore day, like a weekend.
It just consumes the whole day. Right?
Yes, it does. It consumes the whole day. Groceries consume the entire day.
And I waver. Like, I think because we live out here in the country, we really, like, the least we could do would be a bi-weekly, like every 2 weeks. But, like, we're currently right now, one of our kids went to summer camp and came home with COVID. And so now multiple people are sick, and it's times like this that having a whole month's worth of supplies, you know, of course we're going to run out of produce and milk, but, you know, we don't want to go out and get anything right now to expose anybody. But so those kind of things, when unexpected things happen, it's nice. Mm-hmm. I think just it's so much all at once that you can't, like, it's like Tetris in the refrigerator for probably the first 5 days, just until that meat is processed. And then I think it is so much work. It's just a lot.
But it has to be done anyway. So if it's one day versus, you know, every week, I think every week it would be really consuming for us.
Because it would still take a few hours. I just need to time it. Like, if we could adjust the timing where it was always on a weekend, that would help. But that's not how, you know, pay schedules work. And then usually by like the third day, when I've started doing all the freezer cooking and stuff, I'm just over looking at food. Like, I'm so over food by the time. But then like tonight probably took me 10 minutes to get dinner going. And yesterday when everybody was really sick, I just threw something in the crock pot. And so it's definitely something I have to keep talking myself into. And we're not always going to have this many kids at home. Like, they're rapidly growing, and, every year they're going to be, moving on to their adult lives. And so I'm trying to stay in that spirit of, I really only have like 3 or 4 more years of a lot of teenage boys eating food in my house.
So we're empty nesters
So-
plus Evan in 5 years.
So it's just a season of life. So yes, it's hard, but I don't think there's any other way that would function well for our family. Like, we're a 26-minute drive to the grocery store one way. So if I was going to do that every week, I don't know. It's what we do. We're committed to it. I do the big shop 12 times a year.
And that's why we have those grocery haul videos, because it's a big part of our life. I mean, it really is. Groceries.
And what I've done this month to try to make it easier is I have the Sam's app on my phone. And as I think of things that I'm running out of, I've been adding it to my cart. So I'm hoping that will, because usually the day before the big shop, I spend like 2 hours or an hour and a half trying to figure out what we're out of. And that's annoying to me. So maybe this will be easier to just already have my cart full.
Okay, moving on from groceries, homeschool. We homeschool. We do homeschool.
This is our 15th year. We're going in this fall will be our 15th year of homeschooling. And since Evan is just starting kindergarten, well, he's kindergarten age. And like, if Evan was in the public school system with Down syndrome, they usually go a few years past 18 even. So even if we just said he went
15 years.
12 years. So if you do 15 plus 12, what is that?
You're a homeschool teacher. You should know.
No, I'm asking you.
27.
Yes.
Okay.
So I will be homeschooling for almost 30 years when we are finished.
Good job.
So yes, we that's a whole other video that we should do. But briefly, we use Tapestry of Grace curriculum. We have used that probably for the last 13 years.
Most of it.
And it briefly, you study history in a 4-year cycle. And all ages from kindergarten to seniors are studying the same time period. So just different levels of books. So this next year, we are going into year 3. So year 2 was, it's Apollo, the fall of Rome to the early American Revolution. So this year is just the 19th century. So we are a part of a virtual co-op, and I teach rhetoric history, which is high school history, and it's for middle school and high schoolers. And so our kids log on twice a week for history and literature and fine arts classes and get to study and learn with other kids from across the nation. And then we just kind of outsource very little. Our Emma graduated high school with her associate's degree from a local community college and is a senior at Baylor. But, our other kids have tried community college, and, I think it's just different for each kid. So this next year, we don't really have any outside courses except our co-op. And our boys are going to play football here for a local homeschool team, but we do homeschool. It is a lot. it's a lifestyle.
Hey, we're recording.
You want to come join us? You're cute as all get out.
I might have photo of mine.
We're down to 18% on our battery.
You better hurry up.
So, so let's move on to the house animals. Why don't you tell them about our animals? Well, I can.
I think the question more was livestock.
Livestock.
So we just have Bowser right now. He is a Nigerian dwarf goat that I inherited from my sweet niece, Alana. And we hoped and thought we would be getting more livestock already, but with the shortages of supplies and workers, it's been harder for us to get our fence built. And so without adequate fencing, we can't really continue to just add livestock. So right now, Sweet Bowser is kind of just like another dog. He hangs out with our dogs. He sleeps on the back porch. He definitely, desires and misses that companionship from other goats. And so, but as soon as the fence goes up, we're probably, it depends on the timing of the weather and stuff. We'll get probably 2 or 3, maybe 4 more goats all at once, kind of get a little herd going. We'll need to get our daughter's
right?
out here. She's going, what? Maybe a miniature donkey at some point. I don't know. We're still talking about it. But it once we have, it's going to be back in this back area. Once we have that established, he'll have a spot and he can have all kinds of girlfriends and all the fun. And we plan to do chickens. What? We plan to have a chicken coop and all the things, but summer is slipping away from us.
It
So
is.
fall actually will probably be the best time for us to build some of this stuff, and then maybe in the spring.
Camera died, so we're on the iPhone now. I think we were about to wrap up. We didn't have any more questions, or if there were, wanted to give a shout out. That's what you did.
To our friend Cheryl. She is a subscriber, and we set up a P.O. box a few weeks ago. And why did you go to the post office? Just to specifically look? Oh, I don't remember.
You got the P.O. box like 3 weeks ago and had never checked it. And so I took one of our kids to work and stopped by the P.O. box just to see. And
there were 3 beautiful boxes, and we were so excited. Me and my sweet daughter Evie were like, what is this? And we should have, in hindsight, filmed us opening them, but I don't know why. It was like we just didn't really understand what it was. And so Cheryl, thank you so much. We got 2 of these. What's this fancy word? Because I know I'm going to get comments about how I pronounce it.
It's a cheese board.
Something like, starts with a C.
I know it, but I refuse to say
charcuterie?
it. People say I say jalapeno. Jalapeno?
Jalapeno.
So anyways, this is so pretty. There were 2 of these, and it has like a little gold handle, and these are magnetized, so you can hang it on your wall and these stick to it. So that'll be really fun. We will video when we use these. And then this, my girls were freaking out. It's so cute. This is a little skillet where you can make eggs or pancakes in the shape of hearts. And these make little fried eggs really good. So we washed it up today. So Cheryl, thank you. That was really sweet. And it was a really fun surprise. So we appreciate it. Thanks so much.
So I guess the last thing we should just say what do we plan to do in this vlog? What are you going to vlog about?
Well, originally, if you go back to our first vlog, why do you get closer when you feel like I'm crying?
Closer.
Originally, I really, thought this vlog would be a way to connect with other people that are full-time caregivers. So now that that's not our role, I guess it will be still the same theme about, parenting people with different abilities, celebrating Evan and the joy that he brings us, and just kind of focusing on how normal and beautiful life is with him. And homeschooling, I really feel like, we haven't really videoed anything about homeschooling. So homeschooling, large family life, adoption.
Mm-hmm. Grocery hauls.
I feel like it's so close.
I'm not close. You know what? I
And
understand.
most importantly,
There you go again. Talking over me.
say what you're going to say.
Every time.
Say what you're going to
Like
say.
if I start to talk,
Dude,
she's...
who cares? Just talk.
Go for it.
I think as much as I don't want our story to be what it is right now, I think the reality is that I absolutely know that God is faithful, and that I have a voice to that, and that I can say, coming from a place of deep hurt, that God is who he says he is, and he's faithful. And so I think if we can do grocery hauls and live large family life and honor God in how we do that, and all that means is be real. And if we can grieve Ezra and be honest about how hard that is, but also about just the goodness of God. It's hard for people to understand why we would say that God is good, but he is. And so hopefully this vlog will just be us being real and living out the hard. Like, we planned to film this video 2 days ago. We timed it when we thought we would be in normal clothes, cleaned up, and then our kids come home with COVID. And, this just isn't going to be a picture perfect vlog, because that's not life. But
kind of makes it perfect though.
Yeah. So we do, I think getting this gift from a stranger was really fun, and just like a reminder that there are people on the other side of this watching. And so, some of you that comment on every video, it's just really sweet to see, get familiar with your faces and your names and build friendships. And so we'll see. I think I know better than to say what something's going to be, because God may have different plans. So we're just going to move forward one video at a time and see what God wants to do with this. And we're along for the ride too. So before the summer's over, we're going to be taking our first family vacation in 6 years, and we are going to be traveling to Gulf Shores, Alabama. So that we are all really, really, really excited. We get to take my mom, our Dee Dee, with us. So she's a brave woman. And the best news ever is Emma and Christopher and Daniel are less than 4 hours from where we're going. So all of our kids will get to meet their nephew, and we'll get to spend the whole week snuggling that baby on the beach. So that sounds like so much fun. I don't know if, we're homeschool planning right now, but there is nothing organized or beautiful about that process for me. So we may or may not show some of that, but that's kind of our life right now, taking our girl, I call my Evelyn my person. She's like my very best friend in the whole world, to college in a few weeks.
You're not filming that?
She says I'm not filming that, but I can sure talk and cry about it after.
See.
But we'll be
No.
packing her up, and it's just gonna be really hard and a fun adventure. So we have all that to accomplish and look forward to this summer.
Okay, y'all, thanks for watching. We're going to wrap up and put this video together. Good grief.
We are very mature. Try again.
Okay.
I'll be so serious.
Okay.
That's so like-
Okay, folks, thanks for watching. If this was your first time to watch us, thank you for stopping by. We'd appreciate it if you would like this video and subscribe. If you are a subscriber, we just appreciate you. We will see you in the comments below, and until next time.
Bye.